Hey guys, so today I want to discuss how we mount our 270-degree XT awning onto an Alpha series rooftop tent using the Alpha to tent brackets. Now, as you can see, I've already pre-fitted the brackets on the tent, roughly where I want it to do. And the big thing is to show you guys how I'm going to make a jig or template up so we can get the holes in the outside bag. One trick when fitting this tent is we do have to cut some small holes in the bag, and that is so we can get 100% seal and a dust-proof bag. So we rather do it that way than having a bag with a flap to let the air and dust in. This way it keeps it a lot cleaner. So to basically show you what we're doing is, on the bracketry, we've got 2 holes in the back corner bracket, and then if this is in a downward position, I've got 1 hole there. That's the round hole, the 8mm drilled out hole, not the slots that I'll be using. You can use any of the slots really that you want to do, but what I try and achieve is multiple points of connection. So I'm going to be putting in 3 bolts on the top and 2 bolts in the bottom. So what I've done is I've slid my M8 by 25mm long bolts in the back slots of the bracket, as you can see there. And basically just run a plain nut, so an M8 nut without the nylock thread. That's going to be locking them into positions. So now that we've got the bolts in position, I've got on the front as well, so the 3 bolts for the front bracket, as well as the 5 in place for the rear. Now this is the time you grab a friend, your mother-in-law, a mate, it doesn't matter, just to give you a hand on the front side so you can get the positioning right. Then you're going to take a 13mm spanner, basically one of those, and you're going to lock these little bolts into position so they don't shift around. That's going to give us the perfect positioning to go through the bag. So there we go. Let's lift it up and see how we go. So when you're lifting up the awning, you can see the bag is completely taken off. We're going to fit the back first. So you basically line it up and like such, and you've got to move your bolts into position. Once you've got it lined up, you basically just take a lock nut and lock it off maybe in like 2 places just to hold it into position where you're going to need it to be. Then go to the front and just help your mate out in the front. Let's see this. Thank you. And the same thing on the front bracket. Slide them to where you need it to fit. That's the bottoms. And just take a nut and lock off the front bracket as well. Now the positive thing with this is once it's up, pretty much you're going to never have to do it again. So that's a good thing. Rather have it on firmly and do the job properly once than worry about it again. So once it's in position now, I'm going to make sure that the awning is forwards and backs. It'll be able to slide in the extrusions, and you can move it forwards and backs as needed and then lock the nuts off against the frame. So let's get doing that. Alright, so now I can easily see where I'm going to be sitting it, and the back arm where in relation to your tent you want to be mounting it. Now I want to get the back arm or the lower arm underneath my tent basically, so I'm going to be wanting to shift this awning forward. And the nice thing is it should slide, so release your lock nut and or the tension on the lock nut, and you should be able to slide the whole awning slightly forward. Okay, so once you've got it into its new position where you would like it to be, then you just got to go and line up all your bolts again as needed. So undo them. Now once I'm in position, I should be able to then just have a double check, and it's always important to double check to make sure that you are in line with where you want to be. Alright, so once you've wiggled it forward, and I've moved it probably about 30mm forward now, the same thing, just put your lock nuts back so it holds it into place, so that you can actually get your hands free, like that. Now with your 13mm spanner, there it is, with your 13mm spanner, go and lock off the inside nuts, in other words, to hold the actual positioning on the bracket. So I'm just going to go and literally do these. There's probably about 7 or 8 to do. So just lock these off, and that should give us the perfect position on where we're going to need it for the bag. Alright, so the bolts are locked off. I've now brought the awning back and laying it on the bag. Just get your positioning right where you actually want the awning to sit in the bag properly. So slide that up a little bit, fold it up and strap it down as it came basically in the box. Really, it's like that. And that's going to give you a very good idea of where it needs to fit. And obviously it's going to be super tight because you've got those extra little bolts in there giving it a bit of height. So just shifting it around a little bit. So I basically want to make sure that this zip line, and if you open it up, that zip line is sitting basically midway in my awning, which it is there. And it's about the same there. And then just run your eye over to make sure that that is not twisted at all and that you're running the same length. Okay, now it's in its bag. Now the next part is pretty straightforward. Is flip it over. Okay, now if we feel, you'll easily pick up where the bolts are. So we've got 4 bolts in there now, and this is how we're going to get our template in. Same thing, make sure we're still in a line, looking pretty good. Now don't freak out, but this is what we have to do in this situation, and what we've done for now, basically to make sure that we've got a dust-proof bag, just protecting it. This is ripstop canvas, so once the cut is made, it's not going to run very far. Also bearing in mind that you're pinching the canvas between the actual bracketry, so it's not going to be going anywhere. So what I do is I feel where the bolt hole is, I make a small incision like such with a sharp knife, and you literally just push it over like that, and you go around to all of your bolts. And this stuff is so tough, it actually forms perfectly. You don't have to make a big one, literally just cut on the head of the bolt like such. And oh man, it's strong stuff. It's a brand new knife blade and I'm struggling to get through it. There we go. No, it's still not, almost. There we go. Alright, once we've made all of our holes in the bags, all we're going to do is literally go back and take those locking nuts off. That's it. Alright, and you repeat the same thing on the front. Make sure that it's still neat, still in place where you want it to be. 1, 2, 3. There, put a bit of tension on the bag. Okay, and just a crisscross pattern, there we go. And this one, that's it. The last one, that's us done. So all we did with those locking nuts was create the template so we can get our holes perfect. That simple. Now unzip the bag, undo the nuts, and what I will do is literally do the front first and then move to the back. So the same thing, get in there like that, grab your 13mm spanner, which I've got on the table over here, undo that locking position, and that's why we use the nuts that don't have the nylock on them, because they just come off so easily. That's those two. Third one, there we go. Now you can see where they were in position where they were locked on basically. So run it back through, poke it through the holes, and that's going to hold them in place again, which is going to make it super easy when it comes to putting it back on. So all the hard work technically is already done. That's that. Beautiful. Close the bag up. Nice, and come to the front and do the same thing on this end over here. Chup, chup. There we go. So the nice part about that is you get the full zip all the way around. We're keeping the front and the rear of this completely closed. And no dust. Also to note, on the bags, there's a reason why we use a canvas and not a PVC bag or a hard cover, is basically for your breathability and dryability. In the morning, you know, you wake up, you've got a lot of condensation, maybe from the ground, from the dew, from the mist that came through, a bit of rain. The open end zipper allows the water to wick through. It's basically a cotton zip end. So any water that's gathered in here will dry out, you know, as you're driving along, which is fantastic. So just literally wind dry and get rid of the moisture inside there. So that's another reason why we use a ripstop canvas. And being ripstop, you know, like you see, I've just cut the holes in, going through sticks, branches, a whole bunch of different things like that. You don't have to worry about it at all. So same positioning, push that one through, got that one. There. That's us. And that's it, guys. Now ready to go back on the vehicle and be mounted. So let's get it up there. Okay, now grab a helping hand again and putting it back, bearing in mind this time we're going to be using a flat washer and a nylock or a nylon based nut to lock it off at the back. Now it should, technically being the operative word, start at the back again, basically go into place just where we need it to. So those two, yes, and those two. See, the bag is basically holding it in where you want. There it is. Done. Washer, nut. Get a few of these on. And then we're just going to go around and tighten it as needed. Okay, so tighten everything up, guys, and that's basically it. That is how you fit a XT 270-degree XT awning onto an Alpha rooftop tent using the Alpha tent to awning brackets. For more information, go to our website at www.thebushcompany.com. Thanks so much for watching, and don't forget to go bush.